At the time Nkrumah fell, if you were alive and saw what happened, you couldn't blame Ghanaians for naming the place, the airport, after Kotoka. There was total jubilation. Part of the problem of Nkrumah was that he was not in sync with his colleagues. He meant well, but then he couldn't carry his people with him. The intelligentsia did not follow him. Had been so brainwashed that they didn't see what Nkrumah was trying to do. Now, so Kotoka's thing appeared a relief. Somebody would take a bottle of whiskey and pour it in the streets like that.
After the coup.
After the coup, thanking God for relieving Ghanaians from this oppression. So there was extreme, ban Nkrumah, ban his books, ban everything. So naming the place after Kotoka was not difficult, especially since he died at the airport. The chaps that captured him took him to the airport and shot him there.
What's it like to be part of the pioneering Ghanaians to be trained at the Ghana Military Academy? Intake 1. My guest has the answer to that question and more. My name is Kafui Dey. Welcome to the show. If you haven't yet subscribed, this is the time to do it. My guest is former Chief of Defense Staff of the Ghana Armed Forces, Major General Edwin Kwamina Sam, retired. Happy New Year to you, sir.
Same to you.
How does it feel to be in your mid-80s?
Well, I feel well upstairs. Downstairs, the legs are weak. I don't know. I still thank God for whatever has happened. But on my 80th birthday, I was playing golf, I was driving, but I had waist pain. And I thought I could rectify that by going to focus. I went to focus, and now I'm using walker and wheelchair all around. But I still thank God. I'm now 85 and still kicking. So I'm quite happy.
Grateful to God.
I'm grateful to be alive.
Let's take you back to your earliest memories. I know you were born in Nigeria. What can you remember of Nigeria, Billy?
Well, I still have childhood memories of Sapele, because at that time there was no electricity, and in the house we used to light this Aladdin, or is it?
Yeah, Aladdin
lanterns. And because we had not experienced, I had not experienced electricity, I saw nothing wrong with it. In the morning they used to clean all the shades, and in the evening they come on. And I remember also that where we had a big house with 12 bedrooms, with a big hall, and my father used to have friends coming, especially Freemason members, And in the evenings, he will sit outside in these deck chairs, sometimes with friends, and they were just looking at the stars. That's all. It was quite an easy, flowing thing. But one thing was that because I had nothing to compare with, I was quite happy. And my sister and I, the one after me, were the only two with my parents. My mother was a baker, baking bread, and she happened to be the only one baking what is called Gold Coast bread. So she picked some girls from town and trained them, And so I can imagine that my mother did very well for herself.
What was Gold Coast bread?
I don't know. Even today, the Nigerians would come here and buy bread from here to Nigeria. We were doing this in those days. They used palm wine. I don't think they had yeast easily. It wasn't easily available. And they used palm wine, and they prepared it. And the next morning, they would put the thing in ovens made in this local. This, I don't know who did my mother's.
The kilns.
The kilns. They fired it, and then later on they put the bread in it, and it came out.
So palm wine was used to make bread?
Yeah, it was the one as yeast.
Okay,
yeast.
Yeah, that's quite smart.
That was what was used until yeast came on its own. But my mother did very well for herself because of the bread. And Sapele was like there was a small harbor there, like the Accra harbor. The ships used to come.
The one at Jamestown.
Far off, and they would use boats to go and bring things down. And my father was working with John Holt Bartholomew. No, it wasn't Bartholomew, that it was only John Holt. So naturally, when they brought in flour, my mother had a good share of the flour they brought in. So she didn't have any problems with raw materials, as we say.
Your parents were Ghanaians?
Yes.
They were?
Yes.
So it was work that took your father to Sapele?
Yes. My father went to Adisada. In those days, it was called Saint Nicholas, I think. And as for my mother, class 3 at Elmina, she was beaten by a teacher. And when she got home, the grandmother said, "Sit down, you won't go again. Nobody will beat you."
At all.
So that was the end. But she was trained very well about housekeeping. So she could handle large numbers of people coming to the house. She was hosting a number of people. So my father didn't have problems with that. And she was also a good cook. So the Nigerians used to enjoy the Ghanaian meals.
Yes.
There were a few Ghanaians around, and there were others coming from other cities or towns. And when they came to our house because there was plenty of wool. There was plenty of food. No problem.
How long were you in Sapele before you moved back to the Gold Coast?
I remember 1946. I was 6 years old. My grandmother came visiting from the Gold Coast, from Sekindi. And my father decided that the education in Sapele was almost non-existent. It wasn't good enough. So my sister and I were shipped. We came back to Sekindi with my grandmother.
Leaving your parents back in Nigeria?
Yes.
Okay.
My elder brother was born in Ghana because my father was not very sure of the medical cover then, so he was born and left with my grandmother. At that time, my grandfather was still alive, and so he had a good time with the old people who were with our parents. So the first time I came back to Ghana, that was the first time I saw my big brother. He was 3 years older than me. And I was 6 years when I came to Ghana. So you can imagine that we had never met.
What language were you speaking when you came back to Sekindi?
This is the point. In Nigeria, we spoke that broken English, pidgin English.
Had they go come?
Yes, exactly. And we were very fluent in that. But in Sekindi, everybody was speaking Fanti. So with my brother and I, we started with sign language before we picked. My sister and I picked the local language.
Okay. So Pidgin was your first language, really?
Pidgin was the original. And it surprises me that my mother didn't speak Fanti with us in Sapele. But my mother too was very good at languages. She spoke about 3 or 4 Nigerian languages. She picked them up just like that. I think my younger sister, was able to do that. Because when we went to Achimota later, within 1 year, she was speaking Ga. And I went through all those years. I didn't pick a thing. And that was with my father too. My father couldn't speak any Nigerian language. He was a pigeon that he did his work with.
So what was second day like? You've come back 6 years
Yes,
away.
I came back. I wouldn't say I came back. I came to second day for the fun.
Exactly.
And our house, which was built by my grandfather, was a huge house which was built in 1903. He was a businessman, and he was plying his trade on the west coast of Africa, going all the way down to Cameroon and places like that. So the house was full of his wives and daughters. Fortunately, I didn't meet any of the wives. I met two of them, my grandmother and the senior wife. I believe at the height of it, he had four of them. And the interesting thing was that all the wives' children were girls. So the old man didn't put any of his children in the business. But my grandmother gave him two boys. That is my father, Thomas Henry, and Isaac. I don't know, but somehow the old man was getting old, and he didn't put my father in the business. So when the British chaps or the companies came looking for Ghanaian workers, and they believed the Ghanaian workers were very good and well trained, my father applied and went and left. That's how he got to Nigeria. You see, but it was good in many ways because it was my father in the end who became the backbone of the family, But I'm sure if he had actually put his son in the business, his wealth would have stayed. Because I hear at the peak of his business, he was even employing some whites. So it was all right.
He had means.
Yes, he had means. He had means,
What was second day like in the mid-40s?
Oh, it was great because there was only one harbor and Takoradi and Secondary. In fact, Takoradi was under Secondary. The Takoradi was full of workers, railway workers, harbor workers, and things like that. The shops and things hadn't started. The big shops were in Secondary. So, and you saw those, what we used to call those workers from the ships, we call them pilot boys. And they actually, what should I say, led in the fashion, the way they dressed.
How did they dress?
Affected. First of all, they use, I don't know, what we used to call conch, something to straighten their hair.
Okay.
And they used to dress more like American, in those days, and then try to speak the American with American accents, and so those of us, the next group that was important was students, a lot of students, and we tended to imitate the pilot boys.
Okay, is that where the Aze and all that kind of English?
That sort of. I'll remember a few of them if I can remember.
So they were the trendsetters.
They were the and a lot of them didn't even go to school properly, but they were there. And when they came, they had money. So and then there were a lot of nightclubs and things. So it was great in those days.
The second day was really vibrant.
Oh yes, there were nightclubs, cinema houses, and so every weekend there was something happening.
You went to primary school in secondary?
Yes.
The Methodist primary?
The Methodist primary. I started in secondary. That was, in 1947. In 1946, I started some kindergarten somewhere. The language wasn't working. I was speaking the language nicely. But in 47, I went to class 1.
What was that like? What was your first day like?
I met the head teacher of the school, one master Ernest Carlson. He happened to be our teacher too, class 1 teacher.
Did you have to do that test, the ear test?
I was tall enough. My sister did it, but I was tall enough. As soon as they saw me, for 7 years, you know. So I was even behind in the sense that, but the master had tons of patience because I had never been to a proper formal school. And at first, a few cases here and there, you know, the old man managed to put me to shape. By the end of the year, I was promoted from class 1 to class 3.
Oh, you jumped. You jumped
I
class
jumped
2.
class 2.
You never saw inside the class.
I
class
never
2.
said, yeah, I went to class 3.
Mm-hmm.
Then I met my mates who were with me all the way, you know, until we parted in standard 3. And the girls, a lot of them went to overthrow in Kumasi. And the boys were almost all of them around. But in standard 5, then we all sat common entrance.
Okay.
And then we dispersed. But I still have a few of them around.
You said your father went to Adisadel.
Yes.
Why didn't you go to Adisadel?
You know, follow your leader. My big brother went to Achimota. And he himself was influenced by a number of students from Achimota. When my brother wanted, you know, it was easy for secondary. It was either Mfanzepim, Adisadel, or St. Augustine's.
All the Keiko schools.
All the Keiko schools. So I don't know whether you've heard about Professor Yusuf.
Yes, he's the scientist.
Yes. He went to Achimota. And one time, brother, hey, Ebo, where are you going? Nah, why do you want to go to Cape Coast? Come to Achimota. That's where all the action is. So my brother took it. I went there, and I said, now that he'd gone there, and he himself came and gave me the impression that the place was great.
What house was he put in?
He was in Lugard House.
Lugard House. The house that you would end up in.
That I also went. So I also chose Achimota.
Was your father in Ghana, Gold Coast, when you made the decision?
Yes. No. My father was in Gold Coast when I made the decision.
What did he feel about it?
He didn't feel anything. My brother had already been there.
Okay.
And of course, my father had read enough about Prince of Wales College, and they knew that it was a great school. So he didn't bother. And so I followed my brother, and all through then came to the gardens. But I don't regret it one bit. I always thank him for taking me to Achimota.
What struck you most about Achimota School?
Well, the first thing was that, first of all, it took us about 5 hours in those days in Mame truck to drive from Sekondi, 5 to 6 hours.
The wooden trucks?
Yes, wooden trucks. You go through Sedru, Winneba, and so on before you got to Accra. And, you know, students, the drivers were always speeding and we were enjoying. You know, we were singing and we had our trunks in front.
Yes.
And I was at the back.
Still the same black and red trucks?
Still the same truck. You see in Labadi and things like that, those things. So when we got to police headquarters, and my police training college at Tesano, we could see the school tower, Achimota School Tower.
Was that the first time you had set your eyes on it?
The first time I had seen a picture of it. So the others pointed, that's the school. In those days, Legon was not there. So the Great Hall and things, they were all not there. It was only the Achimota School Tower you could see in the area. So,
and you could see it from Tesano?
You could see it from Tesano in those days. Before those buildings came
there. Yes, and blocked the view.
Yes. It was clearly seen. So, wow. Then the drive from the police station at Achimota all the way to
the big gates.
To the gates, to the administration block.
Yes.
Hey, this is something. I haven't seen anything like this before.
The size, right?
The size. Because when we did the interview to come to Achimota School. We did it at Cape Coast.
Oh.
And I took the advantage of visiting the schools at Cape Coast after the interview. I was impressed. The least of them was Nsawam. It looked so miserable. In those days, before they expanded them, I looked at it and said, this is the great Nsawam. And the dining hall was open-sided thing like a market. But at the side it was beautiful.
Black and white.
Black and white. Looked very good. Segregation was also very beautiful. I said, what's this? And as I was speaking, I was taken around by an Nsawam student. In fact, I stayed with the father, a schoolmaster at Cape Coast, and I took. He wanted to show me around. He took me around Cape Coast. He became an ambassador, to France later. He's passed on. But I didn't pass those comments at Nsawam for no. But my decision was that it was good that I didn't choose Nsawam. I was disappointed.
You're disappointed by the infrastructure.
When I got there, I said, where are the classrooms down? Where are the dormitories upstairs? Oh, is that it? What is this? I was thoroughly disappointed, even though it had produced great men.
Back in those days, you chose the school you wanted to go to, right?
I chose. Yes, you choose the school.
Was there 3 schools you chose?
3.
So what was your second choice?
I don't even remember.
Doesn't matter now.
Maybe I wrote Achimota. I don't know.
You purpose to go.
I hadn't seen it. But what I saw of the schools at Cape Coast, I was thoroughly satisfied when I got to Achimota that I had made the right choice. So even the administration block alone made all the difference, And I went. And interestingly, the assistant master who interviewed me at Cape Coast, what's his name? I can't remember. He was the one also assigning us a house. Yes. Edwin Sam. Which house? I said, no. So I want to go to Lugard. So, okay, Lugard it will be. You'll go to Lugard. My brother was standing outside. So as soon as I finished, I said, I've been giving Lugard, so hooray. So I went to him, and then I began to feel the effect of Achimota. Oh! And anything they told me about Achimota, I believed. Because I saw some of the students, huge, tall, not like today's students. Some of them were actually even shaving.
Yeah, because you got there at around age of 15?
That's right, 14.
So you would have 19-year-olds, 20-year-olds.
Yes. And they were huge, manly. There was one called Kafui Dey. The man was full of muscles. And he comes from the Kotoka family, where we had the welterweight champion of Ghana.
The boxers.
Boxer.
Yes, it's a boxing family.
Yes. Said, as my brother, in the evening, we're going to dining hall. Do you know Kafui Dey? I said, yes, because I was terribly interested in boxing. And so on, I knew the names of heavyweight champion, in fact, all the weights in the world. This is Kafui Dey, the boxer. So what? I looked at the muscles, I believed it. And I said, and what is school boxer? You mean boxers come? He said, this place anybody comes.
Right choice.
So later, before I recovered that, he was pulling my legs. But this was it. They were mature people, and all of them, in fact, they all had doctorates. Those in Lugard House alone. In those days, in Achimota School, you were either a doctor, you qualify as a doctor, a lawyer, an engineer, or academic. In those days, nobody thought about accounts and all those, But, those were what we were exposed to.
But you were good in accounting.
Because my father was an accountant, and I thought I could be an accountant. But it wasn't really favored by, if you want to belong, then you must choose one of these for this.
Doctor, engineer.
In fact, we didn't know even much about architecture. Listen, because the lawyers were the politicians. The doctors, I mean, you hear names like Dr. Ismond, Dr. Amfom, Dr. Kiumi, big names. Then, of course, you hear about the lecturers at the university. Because when we came, the university was there. Professor Kwapong and all those names.
Back then, the university was situated inside the Achimota School campus.
It was partly.
It.
They had started building the.
Okay.
So, if you don't belong to those, and then you haven't lived. But I don't know what happened. Then they brought this cadet corps. I joined the cadet corps. And in the process, I became a corporal.
Did you have any adventures as a cadet?
We went to Tamale.
Okay.
They took us to Tamale. Listen, we went to a shooting range, and we had one officer called Lieutenant Zanlerugu. He used to visit us to see how we're getting as cadets. And we had a retired soldier called Sergeant Major Bonsra. And this man, Zanlerugu, always came. His dress was impeccable. You could actually see your face.
In his shoes?
No, the shoes, yes. It was, and then, even though he looked a Northman, he spoke English like an Englishman. And young man, if you want adventure, join the service. You would, you would see the world, adventure. Hey,
he was like a walking advert for the army.
I tell you. So it came rather later. Actually, when the sixth form results came, I passed all right, but it wasn't like you needed aggregate 15 and below. I got about 17 or something. And I didn't have, in those days, there was no, well, maybe it was there, but.
World War II?
No. There was nobody to go and fight for you. You did it on merit.
Okay.
All right.
No protocol business.
That's no protocol business. That's the word. If I had a father who was really interested in that, maybe he could have influenced this, but you went there, he didn't perform the way you should. Too bad.
Yeah.
You will have to see the next step.
That's it.
So the accounting thing came back. And then I saw an advert at the beginning of 1960.
Do you remember the newspaper?
Graphic.
Daily Graphic.
No, there were only two papers, seriously. And then there was Ashanti Pioneer, and in Sekondi there was another newspaper. I forget the name. But those were political papers, but Graphic and Times were the papers. So I saw this advert in the Graphic, and I applied.
This is 1959?
No, 1960.
60, okay.
I didn't tell my father. There were those of
Why not? You think he would have prevented you from going to the army?
Yeah, he was dead against it. So they invited us to Takrady.
Do you know why? Do you know why he didn't want you to join the army?
I thought I was crazy. Apart from that, he didn't even realize that I was going to be an officer. Because we had one of the soldiers who went to Second World War, who was a driver, he came back and he was half mad, from what he went through and so on.
Yeah.
He used to, from period to period, he used to behave abnormally, and everybody said it was because of the army, and he died at about 39 or so.
Very young.
So that is the picture
of the
army in our house, in the house. So I went and we did the exams at Takrady. At that time, it was done at next door to GSTS. It was part of the barracks called Ranchi Barracks. And when we finished, they wrote us that we were successful, that we should come for interview at, we should come for
medical
aptitude test.
Aptitude test, okay.
At Tishi.
Still back that time, your father didn't know?
No.
Okay.
Now that I had left from 5, I could ask, I said, I'm going to Accra for something. So I came. Again, whilst I was here as a cadet, I didn't actually enter Tishi. But as cadets, we did some shooting at the old range, which is now what is called Chado.
Yes.
It was a shooting range.
Chado was a shooting range.
It was a shooting range.
Oh, really?
And it was closed down because somebody got hit around the trade fair site.
The bullet traveled
The
that
bullet
far?
traveled through this thing and hit somebody.
Wow.
So
did the person die?
I don't know. But the range was then closed down.
So Chado was a shooting range?
Yes.
Okay.
So they closed it down and then they concentrated on the one at Teshi. Yeah, so I had handled the weapon. That was what is called Mark IV, the old rifle. So we did the aptitude test. Again, I passed. So a number of us were sent to 37 for medical. Again, I passed. Those who passed and had problems, some of them were detained, like those who had river blindness and things like that. You are a good cadet. This is treatable. So they detained them and treated them before sending them back. Yes. And then on the 1st of April 1960, we were asked to report. This was just before this time. Then my father got to know.
What was his reaction?
What? He said, "You want to do what?" Going in the army. Are you mad? What is wrong with you? There's no job that you can do except. So luckily for me, my big brother, who was then at Legon, knew exactly everything, every step I took. So anytime my father my brother would put in a favorable word. And I had a cousin too, who was with the Foreign Service. He came home and the old man said, look at what your younger brother is trying to do. Does it make sense? My cousin also told him that this time it's not going to be good because he's an officer, it's a gentleman. It's a different thing altogether. If you people say so, but as for me, I don't see anything special in it.
What did Mama say though, your mom?
She was neutral. She didn't quite understand what was going on. So apart on the 1st of April, I came.
From Second D?
From Second D.
To Teshi?
To Teshi.
What was the journey like?
Oh, that one, it was just taking the state transport, or I don't remember what it was. In those days, we used to have what is called ADRA, A-D-R-A. We used to travel. Before they got buses, it was a wooden truck.
So very different from the Second D to Achimota trip?
Yes, that was with the wooden
Mummy truck. Okay.
By this time, I had to go in. So I came, reported, and...
What was the first day like? What did they do to your hair?
No, nothing. No, the first, we got there and we were all an amalgam of students, some mature and then some old soldiers who had gone through the education system of the army. And amazingly, we clicked very quickly. But we had a drill sergeant from the escort guard, escortsman, called Drill Sergeant Leach. He was a damn good referee. He used to referee at the stadium.
Football?
Football.
Okay.
And Leach was the one who actually quickly shaped us from the rough amalgam into a very good sport in a very short time.
What were his methods like?
Initially, you could, if first of all, we were all confined for the first 6 weeks. We had to learn how to polish our boots, how to bring our uniform to standard, and so on and so forth. And everywhere we went, We did it on the double.
When you say on the double, what does it mean?
We're running.
You have to run.
You have to run. So you jotting, you are jotting everywhere. Crack, 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 crack.
No walking.
No walking. The only march you did was on the square, where you learned how to march, how to, turn and everything. And until he was satisfied that we could march, then we stopped the doubling. But with that, it's amazing. I think we all lost weight
Immediately.
And this man was, anytime we did anything wrong and we were punished, it means extra drill. And when you go there, it's there in the afternoon. When everybody else was resting, you were marching. Whether 2 or 3 or you will march.
With you?
Yes, you'll be watching. And so after 6 weeks, we went on the square for our first passing out parade. It's called passing up the square. Well, those soldiers naturally, they knew how to keep their uniforms and how to polish their boots. We were just learning, and I failed. So I had the opportunity to do a second one. Then one of the officers said, look, you can't do it yourself. Send your clothes. I'll send you to a laundryman in the barracks. I'll do it for you. So, thank you. So he took me there, and he helped me to polish the shoes properly. And then we had brass, which we used Brazil to polish them. On the night before the parade, I saw that everything was correct. I made sure I thought everything. So the next morning, I'll just dress and go to the.
And go and pass out successfully, hopefully.
And, because as for the marching, I could do it. So the next we went after cadets, after marching round and after cadets halt. So the officer commanding was coming around. He came round and he said, "Oh, Officer Cadet Sam, this time you've made it." And then the sergeant said, "No, sir. No, sir, he hasn't made it. One of his epaulets is missing."
Are the epaulets the...
Yes, on the shoulder, the shoulder strap.
So one was missing.
One was missing. I said, how? And it was true, it was missing. I couldn't believe that I put one and I didn't put the other.
Wow.
So I failed the second time.
Oof. How did you feel?
Because it means that for the next 6 months, I won't go to town.
Ooh, that's the punishment.
And there was no passing out again. So I was in the barracks, quietly consoling myself. Then one day I got fed up because almost all the cadets were going out at the weekend. You could go to town and come back. Come back, you see, you wanted something from Glamour, you have to give me, money to somebody to buy for you, and so on and so forth. So one day, the cadet in charge of us was one old soldier. He came in as a staff sergeant, Oseusu, a corporal cadet, Oseusu. And Oseusu, I went to him and said, Ose, whether you like it or not, I'm going to town today.
You were fed up?
And I was fed up with staying in the barracks. I said, I haven't heard you. So I put on this and actually went to town. I was in Glamour, I was in the middle of the shop looking for something when somebody tapped my shoulder. I turned around and it was a drill sergeant.
Leach. What?
In fact, if this had opened, I would have
fallen into that hole.
What? Of all places, I choose this place too, and this man comes to meet me here. But believe it or not, I said, "Oh, Officer Cadet Sam, you are in town?" I said, "Yes, sir." I said, "Oh, what is that?" I said, "I came to buy a few things." I said, "Okay. Are you going back to barracks?" I was forced to say, "Yes, sir."
Of course.
I said, "Oh, don't worry, I'll give you a lift." So I went.
What were the conversations like in that car?
We talked like as if he was my friend. He didn't talk about the fact that I had run away. But it was very nice. And
Were you relaxed?
I was, by the time we got to barracks at Tisha, I was completely relaxed. I said, I'll see you tomorrow. I said, yes, sir. And I came back and told my colleagues that, look, I was caught at Glamour by this thing. But it was nice. I hope, sure. The next morning we got on parade. After marching for a while, we stopped the parade. After Kadadowusa, I used to say Owusu, you say Owusa. Can you tell me why Officer Cadet Sam was in town yesterday?
The guy who said he doesn't know anything about it.
No. I said, I don't know anything about this, sir. So, well, I am telling you that he was in town yesterday. So you put him on the report for breaking out, for breaking in, for not signing out, for not signing in. My charges were many. 4 charges. So I went in front of my platoon commander, and they said I had gone on this thing.
You're broken in, broken out, signing, not signing, not signing.
So I was given extra drills. And when you are given extra drills, the sign was that you put on what is called a brown belt. It's a leather belt. We had our own khaki belt, which we used to put, made from the material for the haversack and so on. But from then on until you are out of your punishment, you wore this brown belt. So everybody in the academy will know that you're under some kind of punishment. So I knew that I was in trouble from now on. I had to be extra careful.
Yes.
And
but you risk getting sacked, right?
No, that was not as serious as, the amazing thing is, in the military academy, they looked at integrity, look at loyalty, they looked at being truthful, and they looked at comradeship, how you get on with others. Yes, these were the areas. Trust, how to build trust and things. These were the areas they were looking at. But that you ran away to town and were caught is one of those adventures. That's right.
Okay.
So it wasn't a serious charge.
How many of you were cadets and how many passed out at the end?
There were, when we started, we were about 56. After the first 6 months, some went to Navy, others went to Air Force. And I remember that at the end, when we were getting commissioned, it's a whole lot of story. Those of us in the army who had done the 18 months of infantry work or being soldiers, about 18 or so, what more than that. Some went to Navy and went to Dartmouth, others went to Takoradi to fly, and those who couldn't fly were sent back.
Were you tempted to join Navy or Air Force?
I was invited to join the Air Force. I was invited after 6 months. I was invited to join the Air Force because they said during the exam, I showed aptitude for flying. They could tell. And it was all because of part of the exam was you show, for instance, a bottle pouring water, and they say shade to show. Of course, your common sense should tell you that when you tilt a bottle, there is an angle at which the liquid comes out, exactly. And you should shade it that way. If you're able to shade, it means no. And there were other puzzles like that, and I found them very easy. So I told myself, even coming to the army was a problem. If I go and tell my father now that I'm now going to fly in the air, I don't know. And that's this one. I'm not sure whether my mother will even agree. I said, let me stay here.
On the ground.
Yes. So I didn't go. But a number of our chaps, including one of my mates, Amagacha, we were in the same classroom. He went and he flew. It was all right. A lot of the others came back. They didn't have they couldn't fly. Aye. And so when they came back, they were not asked to join us. They were put at the next intake.
Oh.
Yes.
Intake 2.
Intake 2, because they went away for about 6 months.
Lost time.
Yes.
Okay.
So, but when it came to the commissioning, intake 1 and intake 2 were joined together because that was the time when Nkrumah had sacked the white officers, and there were huge holes in the armed forces. They needed officers badly to run the armed forces.
So when you entered the military academy, there were white officers in charge.
A lot of, in fact, the armed forces were still controlled by maybe 70 to 80% white officers, because we didn't have enough Ghanaian officers or Gold Coast officers to run the thing. But at independence, Nkrumah already, I think he had already decided that we should have Ghanaians, because he always believed that the Ghanaian was capable. But the thing was speeded up by his experience in the Congo. You see, when the Congo crisis came, Ghana was one of the first countries to support the UN when they decided to send troops in. At independence, you see that the Belgians didn't want to go. They decided to sabotage everything. And the the political leaders in the various regions were being encouraged to break away and things like that. So the Prime Minister then, Lumumba, Patrice Lumumba, had a problem. And the UN decided to support him. But our troops went there and they were lukewarm. And they weren't taking instructions from Ghana. They were taking instructions from Whitehall. So when Nkrumah saw this, because after all they were there, when Lumumba was picked away and went and eventually killed.
So our troops in Congo at that time were headed by white officers?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Who were not taking instructions from Nkrumah?
Yes.
But from UK?
From UK. We had a few Ghanaian officers, but not at everyone. A few at command level, yes. But mostly headed by whites. So one fine day, Nkrumah said they should all go.
You just sacked them like that?
Just sacked them like that.
When you were still under training?
We're still just about getting commissioned. That was in 1961.
That was like a mafia move.
It was a massive thing.
How many officers were involved there?
I can't tell.
But it's like the whole head was cut off.
Yes. The CDS himself, General Alexander, was sacked. And then all the British should go with him. So, but at the academy, the officers were there.
Yeah, they had to see us, people.
Yes, to see us through this thing, through the commissioning, the first. And it's amazing, the confusion. So you found officers, young officers, or even though experienced officers, but they were what we call short service officers. A few regular officers and a few short officers, holding appointments way beyond their experience.
What's a short service officer?
In those days, we had 3 levels of commissioning. We had the regular officer, who had a career and could go on until I retired at the rank. We had various ages at which you retire for each rank, from major, lieutenant colonel, brigadier, and CDS, or major general. At that time, it was major general. So
that's regular.
That's regular. Then you had short service, like doctor, sometimes pay, even infantry. They did their training and were commissioned for 5 years, and then you renew it.
Okay, so like a contract.
Like a contract. But as you renew it, you can. If now you have come accustomed to it and you want to continue to stay, you can apply to change into regular. And that's what our first senior officers did. So that is short service. Pay doctors, I don't know. All the ranks, in fact, all of this thing had it. But it just showed that you served for a couple of years and you had to go. Unless you applied and they renewed it, or you changed yourself to become a regular. Then the third one was a Coup officer, Coup commissioned officer. These are very senior warrant officers and staff sergeants, senior, who were exceptional in their area of specialization. Then you find that maybe a drill sergeant or a pay this thing or who was very good. They will give you a Coup commission. And these are about, maybe you get about 10 years. But these are experienced soldiers who are commissioned to you, and you ended up as a major. But eventually some of them became lieutenant colonels. So these were the commissions. But ours was regular, the one we did. So in 1961, when the time came for us to be commissioned, the British had been sacked, but the parade went on, and Nkrumah didn't turn up. He asked his defense minister to represent him. That was Mr. de Graaf Dixon. So the first commissioning, the head of state was not there. Well, but he did it on behalf of Nkrumah. We got our parchment.
Exactly.
All right, signed by him. So
did your father come to your commission?
My father, Achimota, he never came one day.
He never visited you?
And the army, it took time for my father to be reconciled with the fact that I'm a soldier. But it didn't take too long that way, in the sense that as soon as I was commissioned, the first job I did was ADC to the first Ghanaian CDS.
In the AD camp?
AD camp, yes.
What does the AD camp do?
It follows the boss. Like you see those head of state standing and this ADC.
The gentleman behind President Mahama.
That's right.
That's right. And what are your duties?
Oh, his schedule is where he has to go. You make sure that you get him there and you bring him back home.
That's your job.
That's your job. And in my case, I was lucky to have General Steve Otu. And I used to eat at a table with him.
The first Ghanaian
CDS. We used to eat together at table and everywhere.
How were you selected though?
There were 4 of us who were sent to him by one. Then the military secretary was Colonel Sani Thomas. No.
Oh, Ghanaian.
Ghanaian. And when Sani sent us, we went on interview one by one. And then at the end of the interview, he said, "You have been selected." So I went straight to his house, where there's a quarter for the ADC. So I never stepped in barracks. Straight from military academy, I went to the general's house.
What was your rank?
Second lieutenant. I had no experience. Nothing. In fact, when we were leaving military academy, one of our instructors told us, "Look, my advice to you is this. When you go to your units, remember that your sergeants know far more than you do. So if you're any smart or if you're any wiser, you tap their brains." And it was true, because they know the routine in the barracks. They know how things are done. So you partly study from them, by asking them intelligent questions. They will always be too happy to help. So I went to ADC's job, and it was cushy. We went to Flagstaff House so often. I saw Kwame Nkrumah several times. Anything they did, they invited the CDS. And if the CDS had been invited,
Edicam must go.
Edicam must go.
What was President Nkrumah like at close quarters?
Well, as for me, I didn't have any chance to talk. The only time I talked to Nkrumah was rather when we were in the academy, and he came on a visit. He came to visit us when we were in the academy, and you know Kwame Nkrumah already. When the dinner was starting, I was one of those privileged to be sitting by him. I was on one side, another colleague of mine, Santi, he's passed on now. He was on the other side. And we had the commandant and the commanding officer being on either side of us.
British people?
Yes. As soon as we settled down, Kwame Nkrumah asked for my name. And he had that of Kwame Santi, Officer Kadada Santi, sir. From where? From Kumasi. Yes, Officer Kadada Sam from Sekini, sir. What's your father? Oh, I see. Then he changed him to P. Fanti. For the whole night,
He was speaking Fanti.
He was speaking Fanti the whole night. And the whites wanted to know what the man was saying. I could not turn around and translate what no. So we spoke, and then when he gave his speech, he said, look, don't get involved in politics. If you do, you will ruin your beautiful organization. If it becomes necessary to intervene, quickly hand over to a caretaker government so that you can retain your system. I remember that to this day. And he was right.
Those are prophetic words.
I was right.
As Ghana's history has shown, seeing military people getting involved in politics.
Yeah, that's right.
And
you see, and the point is, I've always believed, and I still do, that politics is not good for the armed forces.
Mm-hmm.
And the second thing I believe is that good officers or officers who are doing well do not think about it. Officers who are doing very well do not think about it. You get to the top anyway. Mm-hmm. So why do you intervene? And thirdly, maybe because I work with General too, I notice the authority of civil authority over military authority. At that time, Kofi Bako was our minister
of defense.
Of defense. To the Grabises that Kofi Bako. Okay. And the general got on with him very well. But you could tell that there's a difference. The civilian authority was always more powerful than the taught also in during our training that we have military law and you have the civil law. The civil law is more powerful than the military law. So whatever the military law has will always be overridden by the civilian. So I knew we're always number 2, second rate. As I say, if you are doing well, you won't get involved.
You spent some time in Congo and also in India. Tell us about Congo first. What's the highlight of the Congo experience?
Congo experience, but that's another story. I went to Congo not because I was due to go to Congo, but that wasn't even my unit. I was commissioned into Rotary Regiment, the armored unit. But when I was made ADC, the general told me that I should always dress like him. The armored people used to have black sash on the shirt, so I had to take them off and dress like him. So I began to look like an infantryman. But for me to go to the Congo, I had one serious problem. The general used to, he wanted to send me to some places. He didn't want to send his drivers. And I didn't know how to drive. So he used to say, what use is an ADC who can't drive? And I don't know. You should do there. So I registered with the Armed Forces Driving School. And at closing time, I used to go there to go and learn how to drive till I got my Armed Forces license and so on. One day I did the craziest thing in my life. There were other cars in the house. I took the command rover. This was in those days, we didn't have mobile phones and things. So for operations, the command vehicle for the CDS was parked in the house. Driver, radio, everything ready for action. I took that car and went to town.
The general's car.
The command rover, armed forces command rover. Sunday, I went to town. And when I came back, luckily for me, I dropped the car in a gutter in the house. So the general was sitting and so he heard the noise. What is that? It's the ADC, sir. What is it? You dropped the car. The man came out and looked at me. What? For all the cars in the house, you choose to use the command rover. So if there's an operation now, what am I going to do? I knew I was in trouble. And as we kept talking about this thing and I was shaking, General Kwamina came there.
General Kwamina
was Army Commander.
Army Commander.
What? You bloody fool. I mean, who told you to use the command rover? I said, well, anyway, not like today. In those days, I was put on charge. The car vehicle was sent to repairs. And when they finished it, they said the cost was £50.
What could £50 buy back then?
In those days, but my pay was £50
a month.
A month.
So that was like a month.
So like months. They said it took the chassis, I think, and it took 100 hours to fix everything at 10 shillings an hour. So £50. So I went before General Kwamina. And General Kwamina said, no, you think your ADC, you won't pay. You will pay nonsense, you idiot. Told you to use that vehicle. I was shivering like hell. Okay. Misconduct that, put it down. Misconduct that means they will take it at 6 months, I think, interval of 6 months. Take it from your pay.
You had to pay for the car.
You had to pay for the repairs. So in those days, there were no air conditioners. So my office was in front of the CDS, the entrance of the CDS. But the size of the CDS office were only covered with curtains. If the CDS was annoyed and he shouted, I heard everything. So he was talking to General Kwamina. So how is he going to pay the £50? And then General Kwamina suggested that I should be sent to the Congo to go and work for 6 months and earn money to pay. So it's like going to Middle East now. You go, you get allowance.
Yes, but the Congo was a hot zone.
Yes, doesn't matter. So,
well, you're a soldier.
So I was sent to
Congo.
To Congo.
Was that your first foreign trip?
That was my first operational trip, yes. And when I went, 2nd Battalion was there. The commander was Kotoka. Kotoka, he was in the CU, Lieutenant Colonel Kotoka.
The one whose name is on the...
Yes, at the airport. And the adjutant of the unit was Acheampong.
Did you...
Yes.
Head of state?
Yes.
78.
So that's when I met them.
Wow. First time you were meeting them?
Yeah, first time I was meeting.
What were their ranks then?
Lieutenant Colonel and Captain.
Okay. Acheampong was a captain by then?
Acheampong was a captain. Okay. At that time, I'd become a lieutenant.
You were a lieutenant? Full lieutenant?
I got my platoon in B company.
What's a platoon?
Oh, platoon. There's the platoon, there's the company, and then there's the unit. There are maybe 3 companies, A, B, and C companies. And each company, yes, and each company had 3 platoons. So about 600-700 men.
So you're in charge of the platoon?
Yes, in charge of a platoon. I was in B company. I was in charge of a platoon. And my company commander was one Yaudonko, Albert Yaudonko. And I was very well received.
So you're in Congo for 6 months?
I left a little late because So I was there for about 5 months plus.
Did you see any action?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. In fact, that was my only operation in the armed forces. After that, I didn't have to, I was never involved seriously. Operation.
What was being in action like?
You know, what happened was that the United Nations, we were then based in Kamina, barrack, facing, we were about the outskirts of Katanga. And the United Nations gave the authority that we should break into Katanga and meet the forces there, because the head of the region, called Mwasi has decided to finally break away to Katanga, and the United Nations said no. So we had to use force to stop it. And our unit, which was part of a group under a Swedish general, the formation commander was a Swede. We were the leading battalion, second battalion, and I was the point platoon commander, which means I was the leading platoon commander. So we were the ones who faced fire. And this was the first experience I had that night. I couldn't really sleep properly, but I was lying in my room with my platoon sergeant. Mm-hmm. And as I told you, that night I was like a dream. I was trying to find out which of my troops will not come back. But I didn't fear the fact. I didn't even think that I could be a casualty. I was rather worried about my men. And I had this sergeant, Ali Nacha of blessed memory. Mm-hmm. He was a troublesome soldier, but a brilliant NCO.
Non-commissioned officer.
Non-commissioned, he was a brilliant, And I remember that we were told that your sergeant knows more than you know. So I tapped his brain, and he went like a computer. Mm-hmm. He told me all sorts of things. What happens here? You've learned a theory.
Yeah.
This
action.
Now this is action. Mm. And he was good. So the next morning we were leading, and just at the point of contact, the Sioux, Kotoka, had come forward to find out we were going too slowly for his life. Yes. Okay. When he got there, then they started firing at us. So the two of us went down in the ditch there. And then we fired back. So he gave a command for another company to go by the side and tackle this thing. And when his company started moving, the Katangese took to their heels, abandoned their weapons and ran. So we just moved in, collected their weapons and things like that. That was it. But when we got to the outskirts of the Kamina town, orders came from the Swedish commander that we should not enter the town. So we stopped. Then the Swedes passed through us and went and looted the town. Well, we didn't mind. We did our job. Yeah. So after that, there was an incident which hasn't left my mind. Some of the Katangese some who ran away started coming back. And there was a case where one hunter on a bicycle with a shotgun, he came through our ranks, and I should have said, they should take his gun. I said, this is a hunter, let him. But some of the troops at the back, they saw him as a threat, and they shot him. So I had passed away. So, and the man that I just passed through was lying there dead. So they saw him as a threat. But I was sad because I could have saved that man's life by simply seizing his weapon. Well, that was the only interest. But the Katangese ran like hell. You know.
Questions. What's it like firing at another human being?
Oh, in what you are saving yourself. Oh. It's either you or him. It's either you or him. So okay, you have sympathy on him, then he'll kill you.
There you go.
So, in fact, the Katangis, they were useless. Shooting them all over. Oh.
What's it like working with Lieutenant Colonel Kotoka?
You see, the man didn't smile often.
He didn't smile often.
No, he didn't smile often. And we're all afraid of him. You know, up to this day. But, he saved me a lot too, because after this operation, the decision was taken that the Karangis had left weapons in various places. So we should try and recover them. So a platoon would go into the bush to areas which had been designated as areas for search, coordinate search. And some were successful. They brought back weapons and things like that. When we got to my platoon's turn, we got to a certain Belgian's farm. And before we could say Jack, my troops had finished off the man's liquor. He had a nice bar. They finished everything.
Good whiskey, I'm sure.
Good whiskey, good in those days. And then we searched around and we got a pistol, a small pistol. I was very embarrassed. And he was a farmer, so he had a lot of workers. So I called all the workers to be assembled. And when they assembled, I said, look, tell us where the weapons are. Otherwise, we are going to kill all of you. So we lined them up. I said, we're going to have a firing squad. So I lined up 10 men. And, we had live ammunition. And my faithful sergeant, said, Ali, I'm going to count 10. When I count 10, only one shot should be fired. Just it. So I counted. I said, look, if you don't show me, you show me and you have your peace. And they started praying and some on their knees. And I counted 10 and Ali fired one shot. And a lot of them were down. If anybody had problem, they would have died. It was only afterwards that I saw the danger in what I did.
Did he fire into them or into the air?
No, into the air.
Into the air.
Into the air.
Wow.
But before the shot, you see all of them.
And they must be very loud.
Yes, they were scared. They thought, of course, people were being massacred all over. So
you could believe that you're going to be killed.
I said, no, I don't think there are any weapons here. So, okay, the exercise will discontinue. But luckily, we took the Belgian with us to see Lieutenant Colonel Kotoka.
Who was commanding officer?
Who was commanding officer. So Kotoka asked him, did they maltreat you? He said, no. Did they behave well? He said, yes. So I said, okay, man, it's all right, thank you, you can go. The man went straight and reported to the Swedish commander that we came there, misbehaved, drank his this thing.
After saying that you behaved well.
Yes, that's right. So the Swedish boss wrote a nasty letter about what we went and did. So Kotoka replied that all that the man was saying was not true because he personally invited the man and interviewed him. And the man claimed that we behaved very well and all that. So where is this thing coming from? So he does not accept it. Then it turned around. When he came to my confidential report, he wrote on it that I'm reckless.
For defending you in front of them?
Yes. I'm reckless.
Why do you think he did that?
I don't know. He was shielding me. I mean, in those days, that was the practice in the barracks. A soldier would go to town, or soldiers would go to town and to Nima and go and cause trouble. They come back, and the report comes, and there's what is called an identification parade. The people will be added together with others. So if you go around and you don't find any of the people who did it, then that's the end of the story. And then it's not here. The troops didn't come from here. The COs were, yes, the COs were protecting their troops. But then they knew the bad ones, they will find a way of punishing them themselves.
He's in the news now, your former CEO, because
the changing of the...
Yeah, we're recording this a day after the majority in parliament. Then the leader says there will be a bill to change the name of the airport from Kotoka International Airport to Accra International Airport. What are your thoughts on that?
I feel sad about it because it's a question of history. Ghana, we have very short memories. See, at the time Nkrumah fell, if you were alive and saw what happened, you couldn't blame Ghanaians for naming the place, the airport, after Kotoka. There was total jubilation. It's only now that I've realized that part of the problem of Nkrumah was that he was not in sync with his colleagues. He meant well, you see, but then he couldn't carry his people with him. The intelligentsia did not follow me. I'd been so brainwashed that they didn't see what Nkrumah was trying to do. Now, so Kotoka's thing appeared a relief. And somebody would take a bottle of whiskey and pour it in the streets like that.
After the coup.
After the coup, thanking God for relieving Ghanaians from this oppression. So there was extreme, ban Nkrumah, ban his books, ban everything. So naming the place after Kotoka was not difficult, especially since he died at the airport. The chaps that captured him took him to the airport and shot him there. So it looked like the place to remember him.
What were the circumstances of his death?
Well, after there was this small group from Coup, led by Lieutenant S.B. Arthur. And, it all because the ADCs and other people, the council, those senior officers and so on, were talking. And they saw the affluence of the senior officers.
Now
they become involved in politics.
The warning that Kwame Nkrumah gave.
Yes,
when you were
exactly. Secondly, the trouble that the other thing is that the saying that an officer who is given an appointment outside into civilian thing should never be allowed to come back. Because here you are receiving, let's say, £50 a month. Then you're given a CU, you are now receiving £150, a car, free food. Now, when you come back, for instance, if you have not performed well or they decide to change you, the guy comes back and he can't cope. So it becomes disgruntled. He doesn't see anything right with the armed forces anymore. So when the slightest attempt to change the situation, he supports it. So the saying is that once you go out, you should never be allowed to come back. And that should have happened to Acheampong. Because after he served as Western Regional Commissioner, he never allowed to come back.
But he was allowed to come back.
He was allowed.
And then the same coup.
Yes. So this is it. Because after you live comfortably and you come back and it becomes Spartan like before, life becomes difficult. So it's dangerous to post people out and bring them back. So it is not good.
So Arthur and his men,
just based on these rumors and things, decided that the people who took over were corrupt, so they should be removed. But up to that time, movement of troops was not that difficult. Everybody was relaxed, everybody was happy. So the monitoring of troop movements and so on was not that strict. So one fine morning, they moved in and secured the castle and broadcasting And then after and they made a decision that the government had been toppled. So it was a shock.
He actually broadcast it.
They tried to arrest General Kwamina at the castle. He escaped, and some went to their own regiment, they wrecked Accra. And then there were one officer there, Avevo, saw this, said, "Hey, you people are traitors, you are traitors." They shot him. Avevo was killed there. And then Kotoka was picked up he was staying at Flagstaff House.
What was his rank then? I mean, what was
he was a full colonel.
Full colonel.
Now he had become a general.
Okay.
He was now the commander of the armed forces. And General Nkrumah was the head of state.
So he was army commander?
He was,
Kotoka.
No, armed forces, like CDS.
CDS, okay.
Like CDS, So they picked him. And I don't know how, somehow they drove him to the airport. And he and one officer, it was not even, I don't know how he got involved, but he was not the ADC to Kotoka. Boklo, both of them were killed. But by the end of the day, they had managed to get the officers and convince them to drop their arms. And you could see that even the younger officers, Arthur himself was only a captain. The younger officer was crying because he didn't realize this was what was being led into. So he wasn't even killed. So Arthur and one, I don't remember, the name is not coming. They were put in the range and shot, firing squad.
But they were accused of killing.
Yes.
And he was killed.
Arthur himself was not the one. Is it Angpanda? Angpanda, I think. They were killed at the shooting range.
And so no long after that, then the name. So that the airport then was called Accra International Airport.
Yes. After that time, it was called Accra International. But because Kotoka was killed there, the regime felt that they should name the place after him. And in fact, his statue was there in front of the airport, and nobody had anything against it until now. Well, the CPP people have never forgiven Kotoka for toppling Nkrumah. And in fact, I think it's 60 years this year.
This is the 60th year.
60th year.
February.
24th February, which is just ahead of us.
Yes.
They have
28 days.
Yes. They have the CPP people have been fighting this naming of the place after Kotoka because they consider him a traitor. At the time he did it, he was a hero. Now that 60 years have gone by, it's interesting that there's enough information on the ground to show that those who took part in that coup or whoever were influenced from outside, and therefore they were not genuine. What do I call? They were not. Well, they were interested. What they did was hailed by the rest of them, but the basis for doing it was not correct.
So you would want the airport to remain Kotoka International Airport for historical reasons?
As I'm concerned, for our history. Well, somebody said the other day that in Britain, Oliver Cromwell did that. He chopped the head of the king. And in the end, but still, his statue is standing only in front of the Parliament House, but they still have to dig up his corpse and kill him.
Whip him over.
Yes. Revenge, So at the time you do it, you may be hailed. But soon after, the British just wanted their king back. So what have you done? What have you done?
Let's talk about the other officer you met in Congo, the Captain Acheampong, who became general later.
Yes.
What was it like working with him?
Oh, he was a happy-go-lucky man. When he gets his beer and things like that. He was a very nice man in the sense. But he wasn't exceptional. This is the point. Acheampong was not exceptional. If anything, it was just and he had a group of people who used to cruise. They used to drink together and so on. And when I returned from the staff college in 1970, I went to it was then the GSO one at Flagstaff House.
GSO stands for General
Staff Officer Grade 1.
Grade 1.
And I went to see the then Army commander, who was General Ado. And I said, sir, I need 2 weeks leave to go and get myself, relaxed. I said, I'm sorry, Edwin, I can't grant you that. Today is Friday. Come back to the office on Monday. I want you to come and take over from Acheampong. Frankly, he can't cope here. So I came and I took over from him. And in the process, as a staff officer, if he couldn't cope, where are you sending him? You see, even at that time, there were still shortages in the armed forces, the officer corps. So General Ado sent him to 5 Battalion.
Which is stationed where?
Which was stationed at Arakan.
Bamakan.
And the rest is history.
So were you surprised when on the 13th of January?
Yes, because what happened was that there was a General Aqua, who was Brigadier Aqua, who was the army commander. And there was Brigadier Chumbrima, who was one brigade commander. This was during Buzier's time. Now, General Ado, who had then become the Chief of Defense Staff, wanted Aqua to succeed. Chumbrima, who was one brigade commander, was also interested in the job. I started playing politics. He used to visit the politicians. He used to go to Buzier's house and things like that. And Aqua was annoyed. So, of course, we had a course opening at RCD, as it's called, Royal College of Defense Studies.
Where?
In UK. And Ghana wanted Aqua to go. So when he comes back, he will be fully qualified, staff qualified, to take over from him. And Aqua said he wasn't interested. Oh, I'm not interested. He said, yes, because I want to quit and go and do business. Ado was disappointed. But Ado asked, in fact, he acted out of he should have piped down. Then he told Aqua, look, if I'm going to go on this course and you want to go, you might as well go now. Why wait for us? And Aqua said, oh, if you allow me, I'll go right now. This is what happened. So Aqua decided to leave there and then. And when he left, Chumbrima had to be now, being the senior most around, had to be pushed as acting army commander. Now, in our system, if the brigade commander is not there, the senior most battalion commander acts. And that was how Acheampong became one brigade commander, acting one brigade commander. And unfortunately for us, he had officers who were equally disgruntled and were ready to work with him. Ba was a very close friend of mine. He wasn't the coup maker, but he put himself in the corner in the sense that Major Ba was second in command of 5 Battalion, but he was suffering under a ruling made by General Ado. Was even lucky. General Ado said the year before that every officer who hadn't passed his promotion exams and was carrying a higher rank would drop a rank if they didn't pass the next exams. And some of them had been wearing the ranks for 4 to 5 years. Everybody knows you as Major Kafui. And next time they will see you as Captain Kafui. It didn't make sense. But this is the threat. And Kwamba was affected. You see? And instead of applying the two rule, this thing, Kwamba was sent to, he was then attack ready. He was sent to 5 BN as temporary major. But still, when he came, he was senior to all the officers there. So he became the second in command. Under Acheampong. So
all these events just conspired to put him in position.
And then there was Salome. I want to be sure, but Salome was at Rec, and they had sent an infantry officer, Colonel Sebuatin, to go and take over the CU, and the unit didn't like it. And Salome himself did not like the whole idea. He was opposed to it. So right from the word go, Sebuatin was in trouble. Then one battalion, Agbo, Major Agbo, who was the DQ in Kumasi Brigade headquarters. He wasn't doing well. Then he was posted to one brigade because he was given a second chance under Trimbrima.
Where was one brigade located?
Here, at Peshi. And he went there and he couldn't satisfy Trimbrima also. So he was posted out to Ambien. And as a senior major, he became the 2IC. So it was agreed.
Everything was just lined up.
Just lined up. So these people just, at the day of the coup, they just picked up their CUs and took over.
All of them. On the day of the coup?
I was at Ho.
You were in Ho?
I was commanding Ho. You know, I had gone there again by one of those accidents. There was trouble in Ho. The unit had a problem with the people. And there was one of these festivals. So the CO's driver was driving through the crowd and he wasn't patient. So somebody took a stone and threw it at the windscreen. The windscreen was broken. So the driver got down to find out who they were, and they manhandled him. So he drove back to barracks. And the CO, who was then Kanajangma, he blew the fire alarm. And the troops on the square said, look at what they have done to your child. You go to the town and give it to them.
Send his boys over.
Yeah, so he sent his boys over and they beat up the people. And
was that legit though? Was that legit?
It wasn't legit at all.
Yeah.
So he did that, and the festival actually it collapsed.
Yeah, definitely.
And then the regional minister was so disappointed because he thought he had very good relationship with it. The regional minister then was called Podun. It's a lawyer. So the CEO was put on the house arrest. I had closed from service on Sunday when the army commander called me. Go and get ready. I'm sending you to who? What am I going to do? I said, I'm not an infantry. I'm not an artillery officer. I'm an infantry officer. I know. But I want you to go and take
What's the difference? Artillery?
Artillery was those who use big guns.
Okay.
The big guns. And the infantry use ordinary rifles.
Okay.
So, the foot soldiers.
So mortar regiment is under?
And the mortar regiment is
artillery.
Yeah, it's artillery.
Yeah, big guns.
So I said, okay, then I'll get ready and go tomorrow morning. That was a Sunday. I said, no, go and get ready now. I've got an aircraft. So they took a helicopter. And the helicopter took me straight to who? So when I got there, the officers were all in a rebellious mood. They supported their CEO. So,
were you ranked higher than their CEO?
I was senior to their CEO.
Okay.
I was senior to their CEO. I don't know whether Alex had become a lieutenant colonel. I don't remember. Maybe he was a lieutenant.
What was your rank then?
I was a lieutenant colonel.
Lieutenant colonel. Okay.
So I got there, and because he was under close arrest in his own residence, the CO's residence was occupied. So I had to move in with the young officers at the single quarters. And I could hear them when they were grumbling. And the two I see then was one Major Grant, Charles Grant. Charles was passing by when the boys stopped him. And from the road to where I was, I could hear them talking. Say, the man has arrived though. So don't mind him, see what you're doing. I heard everything. Then the next morning, I got to the office and I called the adjutant. I said, Adjutant, I want to meet all the officers at 10 o'clock. Going to have officers meeting. So I said, at the meeting, I said, look, I'm not an artillery officer. I'm an infantryman. But I've been sent here to do a job. And to enable me to do the job properly, you are going to convert me from an infantryman to an artilleryman so that I can be able to do my job. So, Charles, you prepare the timetable. Every morning I have an hour tuition in conversion into artillery. And then coming straight from the army headquarters, I had a lot of influence with the headquarters. So and the unit was a new one, so they had a lot of needs. So I started using my influence to get some of the things for them. But the one I remember prominently was the number. They didn't even have a number, unit number. So I got 66 for them.
Okay.
You know, and the officers' mess, we tried to make it as comfortable as we could. And then they were playing only volleyball. I said, no, we built a basketball court. You know.
Okay.
Yes. So then we're going to have a proper, athletics track and everything. We want to build all those things. So
you contribute their welfare.
Yes. And then I got the sergeant's mess improved, the couples canteen improved. Then Acheampong school came.
So you were there for how long?
Oh, just about 3-4 months.
And the coup happened in 72
January
30.
Yes.
So you were not even 32 years yet.
No.
And you were already a lieutenant colonel.
But as for that, when I got, as for promotion, I got them well ahead of time.
Was it unusual for you to be such a high ranked officer at such a young age?
The thing was that I finished my exams early. That was what helped me. So when I finished my exams, there was wide opening in the service because there were not enough officers.
Yes.
So when it came to courses and things, they wanted people to go. They didn't have people. Then they go down there. They find one young officer who has finished. And so I say, you go. So
in today's time, how old would an average lieutenant colonel be? Will not be in their 30s.
Get it to about 40.
About 40, yeah.
You know.
So you became general before you were 40?
I became CDS before I was 40, yes. What happened was, after the incident at home, Acheampong school came, and there was trouble in Kumasi. So I was asked to go and take over 4 battalion in Kumasi.
You were like a firefighter.
Exactly.
Solving problems.
So now the motor regiment people said they won't allow me to go. So General Kote had to come to home to come and talk to them.
General Kote, who was later on
was the army commander, to come and talk to them to pipe down, and that they will make sure that. And they were bringing back one of my own mates, Echo Jones, who started the unit, to come and they said they didn't want him. But eventually he was able to pipe them down, and Echo Jones came back. So I went and took over from Odate Wellington. But
later became the commander.
Yes. By the time I got there, he had even gone to Takrady. There was near mutiny on his hands because he didn't support Acheampong school. So this was it.
A lot of stuff happened. Is it during the Acheampong regime that you went off to India?
No, I went to India no. I went to India a second time.
Mhm.
The second one I went, it was in Acheampong's time.
Okay. What was the purpose of the India trips?
The second time, I was in charge of operations and plans. So we're buying vehicles, weapons, ammunition, and so on.
All the supplies.
Yes. And that was where I could have made a lot of money. I was so naive. As for me, I didn't. And I don't know why, but I've always believed that government money
It's not your own.
is like, how do I put it? Like obosom. How do I put it?
Spirit,
It's the people's money.
Mm-hmm.
The people's spirit I need. If you touch it, you will by all means pay back in the end. So I was always wary about touching him. So when my people work out the figures and everything they bring to me, and I see that everything, I just sign.
Because your accounting love those comes in.
Yeah, I just sign, yes.
Yeah.
So,
is it true that you're responsible for the 504 vehicles?
Yes.
In the army?
No, what again? That like what is it? When Acheampong came at first, he said he didn't like Mercedes Benz because it was ostentatious. So I was using a 504 as a personal vehicle. But I was one of the first three to bring 504 into this country.
First three?
First three. When I was coming from, one was in the bank, ADB, born in that long time.
Okay.
So I used it and I liked it. And it was very.
What year was this?
This was in.
70s?
Yes, 72, 73.
This is a brand new car.
73.
Brand new car.
Yes.
How much would a Peugeot 504 cost?
Was at that time, when I went to Staff College,
yes,
it was 609 pounds. 906 pounds.
Pounds.
906 pounds.
What could that buy?
Well, that bought me, and because a Mercedes then was 1,200 pounds.
So it was up there.
Yes.
There. Yeah.
So when I brought it, and they said, normally when you are introducing a vehicle, you have to bring in a couple of them, test them, and choose one.
Like for competition then?
Yes. And when the head of state said he didn't want Mercedes as staff car, we had to look for. I said, look, go and buy a Peugeot 504. I bought 4 and I sprayed them olive green.
You imported them from France?
No, I bought them from
here.
Yeah, from here.
Ghana.
And I sprayed them olive green locally.
Yes. Army colors.
Yes, army colors at one workshop called Dakwa Engineering.
Okay.
It was this near Obichebi Circle. When they brought the 3 cars, Acheampong said, I like them. So that became the standard vehicle in the armed forces. The commanders and everybody had to get one.
504s.
504s.
Strong.
So my CDS at that time, Ashley Larson called me. Edwin Sam. Who ordered those 504 vehicles? But I did, sir. Based on what? Did you try them or anything? I said, no, sir. But how did you decide on them? I said, sir, I'm using one, that's why. I see. But are you an engineer? I said, no, sir. Now, how did you take it? I said, I took the chance, sir. He looked at me and shook his head. So, the vehicles better work. Otherwise, I would be in trouble. Acheampong was quite happy with the vehicles. So, one day, I bought some for the commanders. One day, he was going to Abidjan, and he decided to go by road.
He didn't like flying, right?
No, he was flying.
He went by road?
He went by road.
In the Peugeot?
In the Peugeot. So he went, I think he wanted to see the...
kind of test it.
When he came back, Edwin Sam, I think the car is good. Get me one.
He enjoyed it.
I got one for him. Then all the other commanders said they wanted it as personal vehicles too, so I organized for them, through armed forces. And the man at SUA, in those days, SUA was the agent for.
Yeah.
There was a Frenchman there. wanted to know who was giving him business.
Good business, oh.
Without asking.
For any.
So he came on the table, came and saw me. So he wanted to see me. I said, no, you're lucky. The vehicle is okay. No problem. And believe it or not, we became personal friends. Later on, when I left the service, I visited him in France and so on and so on. But I didn't ask him anything.
And they're truly strong cars. I've seen a 504 even today in 2020. Last year, 2025, I saw 504 still moving.
So that is how it happened.
Was May 15 and June 4th, 79 inevitable?
May 15 was out of rumor, more of rumor, that the commanders trusted the ADCs. They didn't realize that the young ones were talking, but they were talking in the messes. You see, June 4th, if anybody had told me June 4th was coming, I wouldn't have believed it. I just finished my service and from Kumasi as commander and moved to Accra as chief of staff.
What was your rank then?
I was then a brigadier.
Brigadier general. Did you meet Chairman Rawlings when he was in National School?
No, he didn't meet me. I didn't meet him.
Well, were you aware of him? Were you aware of him?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
In fact, he always looks scruffy to me. And the Air Force commander, it was the Air Force commander's own personal decision that, in fact, the fact that he wasn't passing his exams, he was a good pilot and that they should keep him. If the rules had been applied, Rawlings wouldn't have been in the service. No worries. They all thought he was a nice chap. They could handle him. It was at their peril. Because after all, when they finished, what was it? Ahmed his crime was that he had taken Armed Forces loan to buy one, and I took Armed Forces loan to buy this house. So it means I was also guilty. If the charge for Ahmed was that he had used Armed Forces loan
to buy a house.
And for that matter, he was, and this house, when I bought it, was 34,000 cedis.
In the 70s.
In those days. And it was, in fact, we were supposed to pay over 15 years at 150 cedis a month. Of course, the pay too was, but it was made comfortable for all of us. So why should Ahmed be killed? When they looked at Yabachi's account, he had 4,000 cedis. So why should Yabachi be killed for 4,000 cedis? The others, I don't know about Coups. They didn't mention anything about Coups.
And he was your neighbor, right, in this area?
Yes, at the end of this road.
Yes, next to General Nkrumah's house.
Yes. So.
And you knew these people all personally?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Where were you on the day of the first execution? 16th June.
I was somewhere in Osu. Because I was in Nsawam when I was released. I came out.
You were arrested? The junior officers arrested you?
Oh, no. In fact, yes. I was, I gave myself up. I gave myself up. What happened was that when the thing started, I went to my office. It was a routine. About 1 a.m., I got up, dressed, and went to my office to await instructions. When I got to the ops room, the first person I met was the CDS, who was Hamidu. Hamidu. He said, Edwin, those boys at Arakan are trying to cause some trouble. But don't worry, you stay here. I'll get back to you. I never heard about him again. And I was there together with another officer who came to join me, who was in charge of ops and plans, the late Colonel Vosapia. Two of us were in the ops room, together with other ranks who came. And then, somewhere in the middle of the night, I went into my office. My office was just opposite the ops room. to pick something from our office when the troops from Arakan arrived. When they arrived, the clerks that were with us turned against us. Edwin Sam, I know you are in the office there. Come out, come out.
And they were armed.
Yeah, those from Arakan were armed. So I came out with my hands up.
They dropped your title and everything. They were just calling you by your name.
No. They said, Brigadier Sam.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what happened, but one of the soldiers hit Officer Pierre's head with the butt of a rifle. But thank God nobody hit me. The only thing was that I was carrying some pens here, cross pens, gold cross pens, which were gifts from Firestone or something like that. Those were the first things they picked on me. They took us to the guard room at military intelligence at Bamako. We were there when one officer from Reki with an armored car, a Saladin, came to our mine and released us. And only one vehicle. He asked all those who arrested us to put their weapons down, and they did. So it shows that if the Reki had not dispersed themselves, because they were anti, but had moved in pairs, even in pairs, they could have
put down the mutiny.
But we were taken to our Reki barracks, and we're there when I don't know who went and told them. They started shelling Reki regiment.
Where you were?
Where we were. So, I can't remember the officer's name. Oh. He said, sir, I'm the only one here. And if these people move on us, I cannot help you. But I know that there's a force at 1 Brigade headquarters. So if you move there, you might get better protection. So he advised us to leave. So we marched through this shadow,
the former firing range.
And in my going, I think my direction was a little off. So I ended up at station in Gwai State. And I knew there, and my brother's house was very close. So I went there.
What was your intended destination?
I was going to 1 Brigade.
Okay. Bamako.
No, Teshi.
Then you went off.
Yes. So when I got there, my brother's wife was there. My brother had gone to work at Shell, and I stayed there. For the whole day, I was listening to radio until about 6 o'clock. Or getting to 6 o'clock, I heard Amidi saying that they should put down, they should stop fighting, that too much blood had been shed, not knowing that Odate Wellington had been
killed already.
Around
Nima.
Yes. So I slept overnight, and I was asking myself, who saw me come here? Because I was in uniform. It's possible that my brother could get into trouble.
Because of you?
Because of me. So I decided to move. So I moved further into Teshi, into the estate. I went and stayed with Dr. and Mrs. Dufu. Dr. and Mrs. Dufu, who was an engineer and lecturer at Tech, but became head of science. So they took very good care of me. I was comfortable. But other officers were staying behind him. Some of those being looked, whom June 4th was looking at those. I said, look, the way this thing is going, eventually they'll come and put problems on the Dufus. So I said I wanted to hand myself in. So at that time they had appointed Colonel Prez as the Chief of Defense Staff. And I sent a message to him. So he came personally to come and pick me from Dufu's house.
Okay.
And then brought me to Signals Regiment, where they had a nice coffee room, where some of the officers were being held. So when I went there and met an Okwenu, that is, what was he then? Was he a brigadier or something? Then Mifetu, Colonel Mifetu, is it Acheampong? He was either colonel or brigadier.
Also senior officers.
Yeah, senior officers who had been kept there. I remember can't remember the last one. So we were there. And once we were handed over to the Signal Regiment adjutant. He took very good care of us. He made sure nobody harassed us. But unfortunately, on Friday evening, that week, he said, "Sir, I haven't had a bath for the past 3-4 days. I'm just going home to have a quick shower. But you'll be safe, don't worry." As soon as he left, an Air Force officer with some chaps came there and shaved us. So that was the only indignity I remember.
The shave of your mustache.
Shaved
your heads.
Our heads.
Oh.
Shaved our heads. So, and then shaved us Friday.
Was that meant to humiliate you or what?
Yes. Of course, because it's a routine when you go into guard room. It's a routine.
You shave your head.
Shave your head, So we were supposed to be in guard. The adjutant was very sorry. He apologized. "Oh, no worry. You. And then later on, he came and invited Queen. And we thought he was going to speak for us. But the rest of us were all carried to Nsawam.
How long did you stay in Nsawam?
2 days.
What was the cell like?
This was a condemned cell. There were 2 bunk beds, 2 or 3 bunk beds, one sleeping on top of the other.
So 2 in a room?
4.
They put 4 of you in the
4 of us. Together with our thunderbox, But
what's a thunderbox?
What the old toilet where you sit on wooden.
Oh, okay.
They
latrine.
put a pan,
a pan under. Okay. What was the food like? Prison food.
We got there at about 5:36, and they said the food had already been served.
Oh.
So we're given gari and kako. Kako? Do you
yes,
know kako?
salted fish.
Salted fish, this big. Then they gave us raw pepper.
Raw pepper?
If you want. And somebody ventured. And in the night, he ran throughout.
Completely?
And he was in the room with me. Unfortunately, when we got up in the morning, the water came and said, "Who caused this mess?"
Oh.
I said, okay. Then please, you have to clean it yourself.
Wow.
The humiliation.
Wow.
Then the next day, in the morning, they gave us cocoa, no sugar.
Cocoa sakura?
Salt.
No bread?
Bread as if it had been 4 days or 5 days. Lying there very hard. And I had to put salt in it. In fact, even the more interesting thing is that when we got there, the stores had also been closed. So mattresses, those who came earlier got mattresses for the beds. But those of us who didn't get it, we were supposed to sleep on the beds without mattress. Can you imagine lying on a spring bed?
Yeah, you get all the impressions in your back.
Believe it or not, I slept like a baby. I didn't even feel I was sleeping on a spring bed. I suppose I'd been on tension for so long. The mind is a very powerful thing. Being on tension for so long. Only, I just put my sleeping cloth on it And I slept very well. Those rather who came earlier and were given mattresses, they couldn't sleep. The bed bugs, I had to go at them.
Ravage them seriously.
So the next morning, and in Nsawam, there's big business. Anything you want, if you have the money.
It's a market.
You want black label whiskey, you get.
You can get black label whiskey inside Nsawam.
You want current beef, you will get. What about corned beef? Anything. So those who are smart, well, some of us went and surrendered whatever we had. But those who didn't surrender, somebody managed to get this. Before long, we saw shelter all over, shelters.
Oh,
all over the place.
Insecticide.
Yes, insecticide. So people use it to, you sort out the
bed bugs.
Yes. And so that was it. And then.
And in the day, what will you do? How do you spend your day in prison?
Well, that was the first day. We got lunch. By 12 o'clock, the lunch had come.
What was lunch?
Again, this time, beef stew with Gary.
Beef stew with Gary?
There was no meeting. There was no fish in it.
Wow.
And then in the evening, the same thing.
Beef stew again.
Kakoo. But nobody was thinking about that. And the interesting thing was in the morning when the bread and the cocoa came, I was looking at it like this one. One of my colleagues said, Kwame, Brahma, eat that food. We are all going to survive here. You make sure that you eat that food. We're not going to win. Come on. So I ate it.
The 4-day-old bread.
But amazingly, I didn't have any stomach problem.
But then you came out after 2 days.
Yes, what happened was that apparently the AFRC met
Armed Forces Revolutionary Council.
And they said they wanted a substantive chief of defense staff. And the lot fell on me. So they prepared my papers for release. But when the other ranks, Akatapori and the group came, they said, no, this man, no, we don't want him. He is too strict. This is not the time for people like this. They said, if this man who said Rollins was a broke man, is too strict, we don't want him. And that was because before the 4th June 4th, I had spoken to the troops in Burma Hall. It was the CDS's duty. But he evaded it last minute and asked me, so Edwin, I have to talk to the troops, but something had come up in the castle, so I would like you to go and talk to them.
So it fell on you?
So it fell on me. But in the end, it was what saved me. Because I went, talked, and I said, trainees, which means if the bookman says he's going to lend you a cloth, you think about it. Rollins is only leading you. He had done his May 15th and failed. So told them, be wary of this man, because he'll get you into trouble. And I said all these things. So they held it against me. So that's why they said I couldn't be CDS. And I'm grateful for that, because if I had been made CDS, I still could not have stopped them from killing the senior officers. And I would have been living with it up to now.
Because there were 2 rounds of executions. The first one, the first 3.
Yes.
First 2. Yes. And then on the 26th.
Yes, I couldn't have lived with it. Because up to now, it had been on my conscience. That as it was. But the papers had been signed for my release. So one officer, Flight Lieutenant TMO, he died recently. He took the papers, came to Nsawam and released me. See, this is how God.
And that's how you came out?
Yes.
But you did become CDS later.
Yes.
Tell us the story of that briefly.
But becoming CDS, that one, okay, after I was released and I was lying somewhere in town, I was listening to my radio. I wasn't going anywhere. When I heard that I had been appointed commandant of the staff college, I put my uniform and went. And then Mesa and Quinn I'd been appointed CDS and
Army commander.
commander respectively. But I was senior to both of them. I said I didn't mind. At least you tell the whole world that after all the charges against me, I hadn't committed any crime. So I went to staff college and I was enjoying. In fact, it was the most peaceful part of this. With all the noise that was going on, the college was peaceful, And my deputy, Anthony Vivian, Colonel Vivian, who had served his tour and was going back, we had a chat and he said, the only thing he regretted was that he had been in Ghana for over 2 years and he hadn't seen the Otumfuo. He would have wished, oh, is that all? Don't worry. The man I was with him in Kumasi. So I can make an appointment and we'll go. So we're very grateful. So I took my car, my wife, and he and his wife, and we drove all the way to Kumasi.
This was within the Liman regime, correct?
Yes.
Liman administration, Third Republic.
Yes, this was Liman's regime. And when we were coming back, in fact, when we got to Kumasi, the man after the Otumfuo's appointment wanted to go and buy stools and kente and
mementos.
Yeah, mementos for the thing. So we got there the evening. The next morning we went to Menchia. At the entrance of Menchia, somebody came from regional office. Said, Brigadier Sam, the head of state wants to speak to you. Head of state. When I was coming, I reported to Nuno Mensah that I was going to Kumasi with this man. So what does the head of state want? So I told Vivian, and unfortunately, we couldn't do the shopping. After Otumfuo's thing, a visit, he packed and then came home. Picked our luggage, driving from Kumasi to Accra. I remember very well at about 4 o'clock at Nsawam. It was raining all along. I said, I've been brainwashed. My radio was on BBC all morning. But when we got to Nsawam, I said, let's listen to Radio
Ghana
and see. And then the headlines. They said, Nuno Mensah and Kwame had been retired, and I had appointed a new chief of defense staff. This man, the British were poor. Oh, how can you do things like this without even telling me?
Yeah, you were not informed.
So I came. At that time, I was staying here because I had moved from Burma Camp to this place. And the Mensah was staying also in his house. So I went up there and said, what the hell is happening? He said, they called me in the morning. I was sitting behind the vice president's office. They had a long meetings on. And then when I finished, they said I had been retired. Now they were going to send me as an ambassador. But I'm not going. I'm not going. When and I have decided not to take it. And that we are going to fight the government. We'll bring the government down. That's what he said. And then he added, even the Kumasi that you want, they are saying that you knew about it. That's why you left. You didn't want to be. I didn't want to be in Accra because of this announcement. So, Joe, do you believe this? I was saddened. But then, of course, that was the government. So the changeover took place. But unfortunately, President Liman was in a different world.
What kind of world was he in?
It seems to me that he was very naive. Because I tried to tell him that the armed forces was in trouble and that it wasn't stable at all because the officers were not in control. And that unless we gave control back to the officers, we'll continue to have problems. Oh, don't worry. Everything's okay.
He didn't believe you?
He didn't believe myself. And then I went and told, I tried, I don't know ways of explaining the thing to him. I said our situation was like a vehicle that has had an accident. You have 3 ways, as far as I'm concerned, of fixing it. First, the best way is to write it. If it does not the barracks, then write it off and buy another one. Then you'll be quite comfortable. The next best is to get parts, by genuine parts, and get a good garage to try and fix it. But the least desirable was to try to repair the car as it was. No matter what you do, everybody sitting far away will see that this car has had a bad accident. And then the one said, oh, you worry too much. I know what is happening in the barracks more than yourself. So I said, huh? Well, because I said the officers were not in control. Normally, you would disband the armed forces and start a new one. But we don't have the means. So the next best is to try and get a training team from either the British or the Indians and the Pakistanis, because we all do the same system. And strong enough to try and repel anybody who tries to do it. Slowly, through training, we will throw out the badness. The third least desirable is to try and fix the car as it is. Let it carry on. Eventually, it will correct itself. It will not. And he said, you worry too much. I know what is happening in the barracks more than yourself.
He told you that?
That's what he told me.
That he knows what is happening in the barracks more than you?
Myself. Then if it's like that, then you don't need my advice.
Exactly.
So I came back and wrote a short letter saying, thank you very much. I don't want the appointment.
You wrote a short letter?
Yes, saying that.
What were the words?
I can't remember.
But it was short.
It was a short letter, I remember. Hey, come and see.
You took it to him personally?
Yeah, I know. I said, yes, I suppose. The vice president was here. Defense minister was here. The Prez, Cameroon, and all those people, they came here. I don't know how Cameroon got to know it. But then, of course, when it came, the government felt I was letting them down. And that, yes, you know, I know what I'm talking about. I don't want a corporal to enter my office and come and shoot me. If I tell you that the officers are not in control, and you say you can solve it, well, I don't have any means of solving it.
So how long was your tenure as Chief of Defense Staff?
Oh, about 4 months.
4 months.
It worked. I saw that you see the other mistake too they made was that when they sacked Kwenu and
they retired him and Rawlings.
They added Rawlings.
That was a mistake.
That was a mistake.
After he stepped down from 24th September 79, he went back to the Air Force.
He went back to the Air Force. Can you imagine somebody who is head of state now going back to become a captain or flight lieutenant?
Why did they allow that to happen?
I suppose they were afraid of him. They were afraid of him.
You think they should have retired him earlier? When he handed over?
Separately.
Not in addition to General Kwenu and General Nunumeza. Okay.
So Nunumeza was hoping that Kwenu would be retired, but not him. And Kwenu, suddenly, the one who was making the Nunumeza's work difficult, suddenly started cooperating with Nunumeza. They suddenly had become friends. They were mates, of course. So they went and stood at Bama Camp, post office there. When closing time, look, they say we are fighting each other. Are we fighting each other? Openly for the soldiers to hear.
This after they were retired?
Yes. Closing time, when there were a lot of soldiers, you know where the Bama Camp was, that area. So I was sitting in my house when they came and told me that, virtually like press conference, telling the whole world that they had rather been victimized. So they said they would bring the government down. Obviously, they liked what Jerry was doing. But as for me, I still believe, nobody can convince me that the man didn't know what Jerry was doing when he toppled him again. For two reasons. First, every time Rawlings was going to Liman, and they were drinking together, and he said, Rawlings won't do any harm. It's not going to cause any trouble. People are just worried about him for nothing.
Mm.
As if he had got him in his pocket. Then, two, Rawlings decides to make a coup. There were rumors that he went and visited him at the one Achimota.
Golf course?
No, where we used to have cross country.
The clubhouse.
Inside
Games field.
Games field area,
Achimota
behind
Games field.
that area.
Yes.
Somewhere in that area, they were hiding there. The troops. Thirdly, he did the thing with only northern soldiers. You would have thought that Jerry had the support of, at least he should have had some from Volta region.
Mm.
Nobody was. It's only after he had succeeded that some Volta region people, showed interest. And the people who did it later on, you remember the commission, they came, all of them came and denounced what happened. And of course, did you see any Volta region after that?
No.
So this was it. So this was it. So as for me, I told Professor Nabila, who was in charge of security. We met at Council of State later. I said, you people knew about the coup. As for me, I'm not convinced. It's just that nobody does a coup and hands over to another.
So what was the big idea? They will know about the coup, and then what? President Chairman Rawlings will take over and do what?
When Imo Regala died,
CPP.
Liman became exposed because it was the backbone of Liman. He went and bought him. After that, people like Okocho Bakwe and Kobrise and others were really pushing, trying to push him aside. And the man wanted to take control of the party. So he wanted them off his back. So he got Rawlings to do the dirty job, but Rawlings did it and kept it.
And kept the power.
Yes.
For 19 years.
Yes. And look at the man, poor man. That one I fought Rawlings for it. At least, whatever it was, and if was supposed to be your friend, take care of him. Rawlings, the man died miserably.
So you left the army not long after?
Oh,
after you retired?
Yeah, after I retired, I went to Nigeria for about 2 weeks and came back. And they insisted that they were not going to accept my
resignation.
So I went to Abidjan for another 2 weeks. Then I came back. So they said Edwin wanted to see me. I went. They're not coming back. I said, no, sir. Yes. He said, have you got a job? I said, no, sir. And I'll take care of myself. So I had offers from Unilever, this UAC, and the chairman was one, David Andor. Later on, became chairman of Stanchart. He wanted me, he said, they're in charge of human resource. He wanted me there because the old man there, Mr. Keto, was retiring. And then I had another invitation from Professor C, who was chairman of Barclays. And I said, I think, you see, you are human resource manager. And from where I'm coming, if you play the fool, I'll sack you.
Military style.
Then before long, there will be a looter. That this man has come to disrupt this. And then, I only know one solution.
Yeah, dismissal.
I said to myself, after all, I don't want to run. You see, nobody is going to keep you if your presence is going to create problems in their organization. So I wrote to both of them and said, thank you very much. I don't want to do the job. So this is what happened. Then, and I had actually my mind on something because my wife, who was supporting me all the way, was more qualified than myself. She went to university in Rio and she was broadcasting in Portuguese. So
GBC had a foreign language service
Yes.
back then. So she was in
then
the
she
Portuguese.
left and joined CMB. And she was receiving more money than I was doing. But suddenly she said she was not going to do the work again because when we went to Kumasi, there was no office of that type in Kumasi. So they were forced to give her a desk, and she was working under somebody whom she was supposed to be senior to.
Mm.
And what worried her was that anytime there was a big man passing, she had to go and ask permission. I'm not coming to work yesterday because we have a visitor. And then she felt the whole thing was embarrassing, that as if she was not serious. They said he was quitting. I said, what? This money?
The backbone.
Huh? I'm quitting.
And then you were leaving the army too.
I mean, this pay we have, can you think? He said, don't worry, I know what I'm going to do. So she started backyard poultry. I said the house will smell. She said, no, the house will not smell. And then she put plywood under the cages. Every day they used to remove this thing. You couldn't smell anything. Then they started laying eggs. And she made more money in 2 weeks than I made for all the month. I said, what? For 400 beds, you're making this kind of money?
Let's go into business.
Then can you imagine if you have 4,000 beds?
Exactly. Was it from here?
No, this is in Kumasi.
In Kumasi, okay.
So that is how I got the idea
Of the
to
poultry.
do a poultry farm.
Mm.
And the rest, they say, is
It's
history.
history. That was quite successful. And then
Right.
in 2001, President Kufo comes into office. It's 25 years ago, actually. And then you get appointed to the Council of State. What was that like, advising a president?
It was interesting.
Does he take your advice? Did he take your advice?
In fact, I don't know what other councils did, but Kufo had his first chairman, who was Kwapong.
Mhm.
And you know, Kwapong won't hide anything.
Professor Kwapong.
Professor Kwapong. He spoke his mind straightforward. So we prepared ourselves very well before we met this thing. And he was told exactly what we felt. So Kufo listened to us, and interestingly, he knew when we're coming. He was ready, also prepared with his reasons for certain things in it. He always combated his distance. So when he found some wisdom in us, I said, okay, I'll see what I'll do. We even rejected some of his appointments.
Okay.
But they didn't come out. I mean, if we rejected it, why should it? The whole world.
Exactly.
So this is how far he respected us. You see. So that was worth doing. And then we were interviewing the ministers and opposition leaders and so on. In fact, to the stage where some of the ministers were boasting, but you council said that they invited you. Because you're not important.
Yeah. Quite interesting. You enjoyed your time there.
Oh, yes.
And all through, you were also a Rotarian. You traveled around the world.
Yes. That happened when they were forming a new Rotary Club, Accra East, when one Canan Patron, an architect, whom I knew from school days from secondary, came and invited me. I went and I enjoyed it. And so I stayed. And I'm a Rotarian right now, even to this day. So, and the motto is service above
self.
And it still, resonates with me. It's a very good organization.
What's the most interesting country you visited as a Rotarian?
Australia.
Why is it so interesting to you?
Because we got there and we met some friends we knew, and they gave us a very good time in Australia. In fact, my host in Australia, we went to Canberra. We went to
Adelaide?
No.
Sydney.
Rather, from there we came to Sydney. I stayed in Hilton, and we had a boat ride. It was very.
Did you meet any kangaroos?
We saw. In fact, the visit this was organized to make us comfortable.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Before we wrap up, just a couple of brief questions. You once met Muhammad Ali
Yes.
in the rumble in the jungle.
Yes,
you were
yes.
there.
I was there.
Briefly tell us about that.
I was
Ali Foreman.
When I was colonel.
It's 1974.
Yes, I was in charge of. I remember these military organization meetings.
Yes.
And one of the meetings came, and it coincided with the heavyweight
championship of the world.
So I was in Kinshasa.
Mobutu's time.
Mobutu's time. And
it was called Zaire then.
We had, I went with one of the officer in charge of he was in charge of physical training in the armed forces. And I met a friend of mine's brother, and a Lebanese who was doing good business in
Zaire.
So when we got there and he got nowhere, he came and said, "Oh, everything was right." In fact, he took us around the whole of Kinshasa, nightclub, hey. And then we're going to watch this
the fight.
In those days, the guy got us $100 tickets each.
That's a lot of money back then.
And then they just sold $300 for two of us, and we're sitting far away from the ringside. But we could see in those days I had good eyesight, so you could see all those who were coming in, like Joe Frazier, Achimon, all those big
the boxing greats.
Yes, and then those from the entertainment film, movies and so on.
Actors
and so on. Yes, they flew in. And then there was the musicians like Maria Makeba and so on.
Maria Makeba was there.
They all came. So we watched the fight. Before even we watched them at training.
Oh, you went to Ali's training?
I went to Ali's training, and Ali was training hard. He was being hit with medicine balls all over. And he used to say, "Hit me, because Foreman won't spare me."
So hit me hard.
He hit me hard. So he was punishing himself. We went to Foreman's house, in Foreman's training camp, and he was sitting there. He said the point that sent Fraser packing would also send Ali packing.
He was so supremely confident.
He was supremely confident. He wasn't training.
He wasn't training. Well, Ali was saying, "Punch me harder," because Foreman is going to hit me harder.
And then Ali used to move around the city, and people were shouting as if we were doing rally,
He was a people person.
The people were shouting, "Ali Bomaye, Ali killing, Ali Bomaye, Ali," all sorts of. So on the day of the fight, you could see that Foreman had already been annoyed by the things that went on. Just like the Bible, Saul and David.
Yes.
He wanted to finish him as quickly as possible. But he pointed himself out. He got so exhausted, and Ali finished.
Ali picked him off.
Yes.
You loved boxing when you were young.
I boxed.
You boxed? Oh, okay.
I boxed. My boxing mate, I don't know whether you ever heard the name. There was a famous Ghanaian boxer called Eddie Blay.
Yes, I do. Of course.
Yes.
Yeah, he was a bronze medalist. Olympics.
We started boxing together in secondary.
Really?
But we were only going to boys' club, only to learn how to defend ourselves. I never thought about it.
You're going to be a boxer.
A boxer. No.
Yeah.
But Eddie Blay took it seriously.
Yeah, represented Ghana.
Yes. He became more famous.
Wow.
So he was my mate.
Wonderful. So I understand you still have that ticket to that fight.
Yes.
You still have it?
I still have it.
Oh.
I still have it.
That's a real memento.
I have it, $100 ticket. I had it.
In 74?
Yes.
Wow, what an experience. Before we wrap up, just your thoughts on the Ghana Armed Forces. Recently, I'm talking last year, there was a stampede over the recruitment service and some young people died. There's been reports of, I think there was a raid in Ashaiman a couple of years back where the soldiers were beating up people. What's the state of the army as you see it as an 85-year-old Major General retired. What's going wrong? What can be put right?
I want to be honest talking about this and the problems in the armed forces now. I now realize that the commanders now have real problems on their hand in the sense that during our time, at least when I was leaving the service, we only had about 20,000 men, about 16,000 in the Army, and 4,000 plus in the Air Force and Navy. But even that, we had a lot more equipment in the Air Force and Navy than we have today. We had one major problem, that was accommodation. And we actually sent a team consisting of one Mensah Wood, consisting of a General Mensah. At that time, it was a colonel, and one Batlagri to Brazil to go and look at a whole township or little towns built with something later came technology, where they use red brick made of red earth and 5% cement. And you couldn't tell that this was what was used for them.
They look solid.
They look solid. They look beautiful. You know, Brazilians build very well. So you could build a whole barracks with this. And in fact, the whole idea was that we had a major problem with accommodation. So we wanted to solve that problem. In fact, the people were in Brazil when June 4th took place.
The team that was sent over to go and work on the accommodation.
So they came back and the problem never saw the light of day.
Oh boy.
You know. And now the armed force is almost double what it was during my time.
Almost 40,000.
They are over 30-something thousand. And the accommodation has not changed much. So the problem now is that they have a serious problem with accommodation. And in our days, if you get to the mess, every young officer had a place in the mess. Now I hear there are some officers even staying at far away as Kaswa, coming to work here.
In Bema camp?
Yes.
Wow.
So they have problems. Problems with logistics. Problems. They expanded without the corresponding resources. I don't know why we did this, but our size at the time I was leaving was such that apart from Nigeria, we had the biggest size even at that, compared with Cote d'Ivoire and all those troops around us. Secondly, we were not worried too much because we went on conferences and the French territories, the officers always came with French officers. And the French officers rather advised them. So they were just fronts, they didn't have much effect. So, and we had no intention of attacking any of them anyway. We didn't have much problem. But now, I don't know whether because of the United Nations operations, we expanded, and we have expanded without the corresponding resources.
So accommodation is a big deal. That has to be solved.
It's a big deal.
Okay.
Equipment is a big deal. I remember when I was in command, I could just tell the Air Force, I want to go to Takrady. And there'll be an aircraft for me. You know.
Now?
The Navy had about 16 ships or whatever. How many ships? Now, the Air Force, I flew from here to Cairo on Air Force aircraft.
Ghana Air Force?
Yes. We had aircraft. But remember at one stage, we even started doing courier service.
Yes.
And until we had an air crash and stuff. But now,
so equipment needed, accommodation needed. We hear stories of. Do we have a one Ghana Armed Forces, or are there political factions? The things that Osachifo talked about and warned. Are the armed forces in danger of being politicized?
It could be. It could be. You know, I don't know. For instance, I had always prayed that the change of guard in the armed forces hierarchy should not be conterminous with change of government. The moment you do that, the impression is created
It's
that
linked. As
you belong to this faction. That's why they put you there.
Yeah.
Or you are trusted more than the others. I don't know whether there's a solution to that. But from what has happened, I'll be surprised, assuming that the next government is NPP government. I don't expect them to keep
the people here.
And it was all because you just allow them a little bit. Ease them gently and but the whole thing is cut.
It's almost like a decapitation at a particular time.
At a particular time. Yeah. So people begin to feel like, look, if I don't want to, let me bet my bet, these people are going to die forever. So your loyalty is now either you are betting your time for
your people to
go, or no, there's no doubt about it that everybody has his preference. But as a soldier, you should be prepared to work for anybody who is in charge.
Indeed. So the timing of these appointments
and
changing of the guard should be looked at.
I don't know. I don't think it's right. This is my own personal
view. In our neighborhood, the West African neighborhood, we have Burkina Faso, which is headed by a military man, Niger, Mali. They've actually even formed their own organization now, Sahelian States Association. Your thoughts on this development? And they seem to be liked by their people, at least the Burkinabe man.
No, the military regimes, when they come at first, people like them because they seem to get things done, But the problem is that military regimes, when they last for too long, they change. That's the danger. You come here effective for a while, and then after a while, people say, you can kill us if you want. We are fed up, And then you have lost your power. So I think what they have done in those countries, I know people are thinking, if we also have this thing, we could. It's not that. It's the mentality of the people. If you believe, as I do now, that, for instance, Kwame Nkrumah was right all along, except that his methods were not palatable in some cases. You'll be surprised, when things change like this. I still don't believe that the powers that be, the imperialists and this thing, have left us alone. They are still holding us by the neck. They can use some simple economic this thing to manipulate and to squeeze us, out of the IMF and all those things are all meant to keep us in our place.
Recently, I thought gold was really high for a long time. All of a sudden, the prices have started dropping.
But apart from that, that is not even. How come cocoa has suddenly dropped like the way it is? It went to 10,000. Now it's less than 5,000. Now, which government can hang on at that? I hear today that the cocoa farmers are complaining that they are not buying their cocoa. Are they now expecting the cocoa farmers to start smuggling? Meanwhile, the government doesn't have the money to pay. Otherwise, I see that they've sold a lot of chunk of gold now. I hope they will now have money to pay.
Yeah, but the gold was high for a long time.
Yes, but again, I thought we were building up our reserves. But all of a sudden,
they've come down to
so many.
Yeah.
I don't know. So I don't trust the powers. I mean, we sold the gold for dollars, not so.
Indeed. If you were still on the Council of State, but now advising President Mahama, what's the biggest piece of advice you would give him?
piece of advice.
Yes.
Don't trust the imperialists, international powers. Move cautiously. Do what is good for your country. But if you are trusting these people to advise you, you will never get there. You'll never get there.
I can't end by commending you for this wonderful book, The Path of an Army General. I was enjoying your rich mustache from back in the day. This is such a great book. How I Served My Country, Ghana, by Major General Edwin Kwamina Sam, retired. What are you most proud of for your service to Ghana?
Oh, rather, I'm sorry that the armed forces spent so much money training me. But I never had the time to put my ideas into practice the way I wanted the armed forces to be. Like being self-sufficient and building our own barracks and things like that. And then, so it's an unfinished project. It's something that I regret. But then I believe that was the time that God gave me. So that's, I did my part.
And if any of your grandchildren wanted to join, to go into the Ghana Armed Forces, what would you tell that person?
Unfortunately, all my grandchildren are girls. And the girls they appear to be the intellectual type. There's a lawyer, there's what? Well, there's one who did the communication, just graduated, and maybe the second one is with Africa Free Trade. And then the last one is doing architecture. I don't see soldiers in them.
How about great-grandchildren? If they came after you, said,
Maybe,
great-grandpa, we want to join the army.
Maybe if my great-grandchildren want to join, I always encourage them to join. Because the armed force is not going to remain like that. Somebody will come who will genuinely see the light and put things right for the armed forces. Right now, I'm not blaming anybody. But I think we're taken by events, because ideas like even Acheampong, what he did, it surprised everybody. And can you imagine, even in sports, we had an edge in Africa, it's gone down.
Yeah.
It's just because we don't put our priorities right.
Finally, a message from you to up-and-coming leaders. You can talk to them. They are in that camera. What's your message as a leader, as a major general? What's your message, advice to up-and-coming leaders?
Oh, they should put Ghana first. Ghana first is the only answer. And they should not think, they should be prepared to think out of the box. It's possible, even now, to make a serious change in our fortunes. And it will all depend on the way the leader approaches it. The armed forces must begin to look inwards and to solve its own problems. If we are dependent on outside, we won't get far. We won't get far. We have enough resources to think inwards now. And this country still has, there's hope for the country. It shall succeed. The future is good.
Thank you so much. Congratulations. I've almost slipped my mind for the national honor that you received many years ago as well.
Oh, from the government.
Yes, indeed.
I don't use it too.
Yes, but congratulations.
Thank you.
and it's a great book. I seriously recommend it, The Path of an Army General, How I Served My Country, Ghana, by Major General Edwin Kwamina Sam, retired. It's a real pleasure talking to you.
Thank you very much.
Accra General.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed the conversation. Let's meet in the comments. My name is Kafui Dey.
Thank you.
God bless.